I want you to imagine the following scene. It's Friday night, you're tired of the work week, but at the same time you have this feeling that money is never enough. Suddenly a friend says, "Hey, why don't you do some extra work? I'll do it and make some extra money every month." Sounds logical, right? Who doesn't want more income? But what almost no one tells you is that those extra jobs, that additional income, don't come without pitfalls. Behind this apparent economic relief lies a reality that many discover too late, the impact they have on your taxes. Today we're going to talk about something that affects millions of people around the world and can change your way of thinking every time someone tells you, get a side hustle. We're going to understand how taxes work when you have more than one source of income, what risks there are, what benefits you can get, and above all, how to organize yourself so that that extra money doesn't end up becoming a headache. I'm going to tell you with clear examples, with stories that are probably very similar to yours, and with practical tools to help you make smart decisions. So stick around, because what you're going to learn can make the difference between feeling like you're working harder but not making progress, or truly building a solid foundation for your financial future. Part 1. The excitement of extra income. We've all been there. Someone offers you a freelance job, a delivery app, a private tutoring program, a ride-hailing service for Uber, or designing online, and suddenly you think, great, this will pay off my debts faster, or I'll finally be able to treat myself. And yes, the first month you feel like your bank account is breathing. The problem arises a few months later when that email or letter arrives saying you need to declare additional income. And that's when many feel the blow. Because, let me tell you straight, the government doesn't forget about your extra work. On the contrary, it's keeping a close eye on it. That feeling that everything is a win-win situation fades when you understand that every extra dollar you earn can move the needle on your taxes. Part 2. The difference between income and wages. Imagine Maria. She works in an office from 9 to 5 where she earns a fixed salary. Every month her bank account is deposited, and as you know, the money she receives is less than what her contract says. Why? Because her employer automatically withholds taxes from her payroll. Now, Maria decides to open a YouTube channel to talk about baking, and soon she begins receiving advertising payments and some income from online courses she creates. Something key happens here, that extra money doesn't have an employer to deduct from your taxes. It comes to you clean, and this is where many people fall into the trap. They think that since no one is withholding it, it's free money. But at the end of the year, the Treasury or the IRS, depending on the country, knocks on the door and says, "Maria, don't forget you have to declare this too." That's the clash between the income controlled by an employer and the income you generate on your own. One comes with taxes already deducted, the other doesn't. And that's the first big difference you need to understand if you're thinking about side hustles. Part 3. Does more income equal more taxes? Now the big question, does earning more automatically mean paying more taxes? The short answer is yes, but with nuances. Most of the world's tax systems operate on a progressive basis. This means that the more you earn, the higher the percentage you pay in taxes. But here's the interesting part. It's not all of your money that moves up to the next tier, but only the excess that crosses that threshold. Practical example. Let's suppose that in your country the income bracket from 0 to 20,000 pays 10%, from 20,001 to 40,000 it pays 20%, and from 40,001 to 60,000 it pays 30%. If you earn 25,000, you don't pay 20% on everything, but rather 10% on the first 20,000 and 20% on the remaining 5,000. Now imagine that extra job takes you from 39,500 to 41,000. Does that mean that you suddenly pay 30% on everything? No, just 30% of what you earned over the limit. The problem is that many people find that when they file their tax returns, they owe more than they expected, and they feel like working harder was useless. And it's not that it's useless, it's that they didn't plan or set aside enough for their taxes. Part 4. Everyday stories. I know a guy named Javier. He worked as a programmer and decided to do freelance projects on the weekends. The first year, he earned an extra 10,000. He was happy. He bought a new laptop, traveled, and treated himself to a few luxuries. The problem came in April of the following year. When he filed his tax return, he realized he owed almost 3,000 in taxes he'd never set aside. The result? He had to go into debt to pay taxes on the money he'd already spent. Another case, Laura, who works as a nurse, decided to drive Uber 2 nights a week. Being more cautious, she saved 25% of each trip in a separate account. What happened? When it came time to file taxes, she had everything ready. What's more, she was able to deduct part of her gas and car maintenance expenses. 2 people, same scenario, but completely different results. The difference? Planning. Part 5. Strategies to make extra income work for you. Here's what you're most interested in. How to prevent a side hustle from becoming a tax problem. Save a fixed portion of each income. Keep in mind that of every 100 you earn, at least 25 should go directly into a separate account. That money isn't yours yet, it belongs to the tax authorities. Learn about deductions. If you work as a delivery driver, you can deduct transportation expenses. If you're a digital creator, your camera, software, or even your internet connection may be deductible. Always declare your income. Don't be tempted to hide your income. Nowadays, digital platforms automatically report it to the authorities. It's safer to declare it than risk fines. Think long term. Sometimes extra income isn't just for covering immediate expenses. It can be your seed money for investing, saving, or even changing careers. The important thing isn't how much you earn, but how much you keep after taxes and how you use it. Part 6. The myth that it's not worth it to work harder. Many people, after their first experience, say, "Oh, so working extra isn't worth it because in the end it all goes to taxes." That's not entirely true. Yes, you'll pay taxes, but what really matters is the proportion of what you manage to retain. A side hustle can mean 70% net profit and 30% taxes. That's still money you wouldn't have otherwise. The problem is thinking short term. If you only see the impact of paying more, you become demotivated. But if you understand that you're building multiple incomes, savings capacity, and experience that you can later scale, your perception changes completely. Don't fall for the myth. It's worth it, but only if you do it strategically. Part 7. Final inspiration. So the next time someone offers you a side hustle, don't dismiss it or just jump at it. Ask yourself, how am I going to handle the taxes on this? If you do it right, that extra income can be the start of your financial freedom. If you do it wrong, it can be a headache that leaves you in debt. The difference isn't in the opportunity, it's in your preparation. Remember, money that comes in without a plan goes out without a trace. Money that comes in with a strategy becomes the foundation of your future. The choice is yours. Are you going to let taxes take you by surprise? Or are you going to make the system work for you? If you enjoyed the video, give it a like and hit the bell so you don't miss any more videos about economics and personal finance. Subscribe.